Welcome back once again. So this is section 2. As we discussed in the previous section, the various method that will be involved in selecting a project or rejecting a project. So we are starting this section with the payback period method or the payback methods of investment analysis. So our objective is to use the payback period criterion to evaluate long-term projects, to use the accounting rate of return criterion to also evaluate long-term projects, and also compare and contrast the payback period with the accounting rate of return techniques. Alright, so what is payback period? Alright, so from the name payback period, alright, so the time that it will be taken to recover the initial amount that you invested in a project. Alright, so if you invest 5,000 in a project today, how long will it take you to recover that 5,000 amount? So the period that or the duration that it will take you to recover this amount is what is termed as the payback period. Right. So the formula for calculating for payback period is based on whether the cash flow is even. If you say even cash flow, it means that if the duration of the project is 5 years, every year you are going to invest the same amount in the project. It means every year you are investing 5,000, or you are going to get 5,000 as cash inflows from the project. Every year you're going to get 5,000 from the project. Alright, I hope you understand. So it's the same amount for all the years allocated. And we also have the uneven cash flow. Of course, it's the reverse of the even cash flow. Alright, so where the cash flows are different at different time period. Maybe year 1 is 500, year 2 is 600, year 3 is 400. Yeah, so these are uneven cash flows. And even cash flow is the same amount for all the respective years. So if the cash flows are the same or even, the formula for calculating for the payback period is initial investment over the annual cash flows. Alright, so let's try with this example. Project cost is 30,000 Ghana cedis and the cash inflows are 10,000. The cash inflows are 10,000. The life of the project is 5 years. Calculate the payback period. Alright, they are saying that the cash inflows are 10,000. Alright, so it means that for all the 5 years, each year is what? 10,000 Ghana cedis. Right, and the amount that we invested in the project is 30,000. So how long is it going to take us to recover this 30,000 amount? So if the cash flows are the same, the formula is the initial amount invested, which is 30,000 over annual cash flow, which is 10,000. And at the end, we are going to get, let's see what we have here. We are going to get 3 years. Yeah, so the initial amount that was invested is 30,000 and the annual investment is 10,000. So we are going to get 3 years as our payback period. So what is the decision rule for payback period? In case you are to select a project out of a list of projects, what decision criterion are you going to base on to accept or reject? So since the payback period is less than the number of years constituting the life of the project should be accepted. Alright, so we always prefer the shorter payback period. If project 1 will take you 5 years to recover your initial amount and project 2 also has a payback period of 3 years, we will prefer project 2 because it has a shorter payback period. Alright, of course, let's do for uneven cash flows. So where we have uneven cash flow, the formula is T plus CU over CF. Alright, so where T is defined to be the number of years before full recovery. Alright, so if you say the number of years before full recovery, alright, we use a question to explain that one. And CU is the unrecovered cost at start of the year, and the various cash flow or the cash flow in the year during full recovery is the CF. Right, try with an example. Yeah, we have one example here. So the projected cash inflows from a proposed investment are 100 Ghana cedis, 200 Ghana cedis, and 500 Ghana cedi respectively in the first, second, and the third years. Alright, so it means year 1 is 100, year 2 is 200, year 3 is what? 500. This project cost 500 Ghana cedis. So this is the initial investment on the amount that you invested in the project. So the requirement is, what is the payback period for this investment? So anytime you see a question like this, first of all, you have to ask yourself which formula you're going to use. Are you going to use the even cash flow formula or the uneven cash flows? This question is about uneven. All right, so you go by the uneven cash flows formula. All right, so we quoted the formula to be T plus CU over CF, where we said T is the year before full recovery. All right, so if you are saying the year before full recovery, let's see. From this question, the initial amount that will be invested in the project, or that was invested in the project, is 500 Ghana cedis. All right, so we have 3 years to recover this amount. It means that year 1 we are going to recover 100. All right, you've not gotten, so you have to add up until you get your 500. All right, that is the meaning of recovery of the initial amount. We are adding up until we get the exactly 500 amounts that we want. It shouldn't be more, it shouldn't be less. All right, so year 1 is 100, year 2 is 200, so year 1 and year 2 we are going to get 300. And if you have to add year 3 to it, it means it's going to be 800, right? So it will be 100 plus 200 plus 500, which is 800. But we don't want 800. So at the end of year 2, it means you have 300. All right? It means you will need 200 in the subsequent year. All right? To get, that is, you need 200 in year 3 to top it up to the 300 that we've recovered in year 1 and 2 before we get the exact 500 amount that we are looking for. All right, so it means that the year before the full recovery is the year 2, because after year 2 we have 300, but we need some from year 3 to get the exactly 500 Ghana cedis. So the year before the full recovery is going to be 2 years. All right, because year 1 and 2, so it's going to be 2 years. And the cash flows, or the uneven cash flows, CU is the unrecovered cost. So if you say unrecovered cost, we have 300. How much do we need to make up the 500? We need 200. So 200 is the unrecovered cost. All right. So the unrecovered cost is 200, and the cash flow during that year is the 500. I hope you understand. So the 2 is the cash before the year before full recovery is 2, year 2. It may have 2 years there. We need some amount in the year 3 to top it up. And the unrecovered cost as at the end of the second year is 200. And the cash flow during the third year, the year that we are going to get the full amount, is the 500. So then we are going to get 2 plus 0.4, which is 2.4 years. I hope you understand. All right, payback period is in years, so don't write the answer in Ghana cedis or percentage. It's supposed to be in years. Payback period. Okay. So what are the merits of the payback period? Of course, it is easy to calculate and it's also simple to understand. All right, so the payback method provides further improvements over the accounting rate of return. Of course, you'll be looking at the accounting rate of return, and the payback period method reduces the possibility of loss on account of obsolescence. So obsolescence mostly comes in as a result of change of technology. So if the project will take longer years before you recover your amount, all right, technology is moving faster. The demand for that technology might obsolete, or the demand for the project might not be no more. Okay. So the demerit, of course, it ignores the time value of money, because the money today will not be the same as the money tomorrow. It also ignores all cash inflows after the payback period, because the focus is only on the year that you are going to get your amount. What if after the payback period you are going to get higher amount? Because some projects pays back not in the initial amount. It will take some time before you start reaping huge sums of profit. So what if you are going to get huge amount after the payback period, but the formula or the method doesn't focus on the cash flow that occurs after the payback period? Yeah, of course, I've talked about the decision already, but let me re-emphasize it here again. So if the actual payback period is less than the predetermined payback period, then the project will be accepted. If not, reject it. All right. So if the policy of the company, you only accept projects which will take 3 years to reap your initial amount, and the project you are going to embark on will take 10 years to get it, you have to reject it because it does not conform with the predetermined payback period. Of course, for mutually exclusive projects, you accept the one with the least or shorter payback period. We also have the discounted payback period. So the discounted payback period is the same payback period, but this one, the cash flows are discounted. If you realize, we talk about the disadvantage of the payback period, that it does not take into consideration the time value of money. So that is the need for this modifying method, which is the discounted payback period. So this one, we discount the various cash flows to their present value. So we find the present values of the cash flows, because the cash flows will not be the same. Year one, we have different years. You can't just compare year one cash flow to year two. Right? You have to discount all the cash flows to their present state before you can use in doing your analysis. All right. So that is the only difference between the payback period and the discounted payback period. So discounted payback period, we use the present values in doing our analysis. All right. So of course you need a discount factor. So the discount factor, how to find the present values, you multiply the cash flows associated with the discount factor, and this is the discount factor formula, 1 over 1 plus r exponent n. So in a question, they will give you the cost of capital, all right, that you are going to use to discount the various cash flows to their present before you can use it to do your analysis. All right, so in this section, we discuss how the managers and analysts can use the payback period and also the discounted payback period. We also looked at the various advantages and disadvantages associated with the various cash flows or the various method. We also looked at the decision rule of the payback period. Of course, it's the same as the discounted payback period. Okay, so we have some questions here. You can try your hands on. All these questions. All right, so thanks for your time, and I will see you in the next question, in the next section. Sorry.